What up? What up?
What's going on, man?
Episode 173, baby. We back.
Let's go, dude. It feels like it's been a while, and it's only been a week. I don't know why it feels like it.
And I think we skip we skipped the extra
I guess
day.
like a day, and then I think when the weeks are eventful, they just feel longer. I don't know what it like. It's a holiday week, you know what I mean?
Man,
Like I don't
for me,
know.
it's been feeling short, man. I feel like I'm missing a day.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like we haven't potted in a while.
It's literally been 7 days, right?
Yeah, you know what that tells me, bro? That I'm getting needy.
That means it's time to leave you.
I'm about to give a dump.
Time to find a new partner.
This is when the commitment issues and guys start to see themselves too, like I want to get attached.
Yep. Yo, welcome back, everybody, to the carbon. Okay, let me. Welcome back, everybody, to the Carbon Footprint Podcast. He is Juan, and I'm Sean, and every week we get together, have a few drinks, talk about things going on in the world, try to focus on things making an impact, whether they be good, bad, or otherwise. Hit him with the drink of the day.
Listen, man, I am extra proud of the drink this week, man. This is an experimental endeavor here. Like I got inspiration from something, and then just try to, I guess concoct something.
This fucking drink got me doing like the Liberty Bibbity.
Yeah, you hear how Sean talking? That's how good this drink is. The Liberty It took that shit a minute to register with me, bro, because I've had too many of these too. The Liberty
Sorry, man. Drink.
Go. Oh man, we drinking. Oh yeah, we are drinking. All right, so no, this shit's awesome, man. I know we decided to do a little take on a mojito, but instead of rum and like sugar, we're using mezcal and an agave syrup. So this was interesting, and it's my first time doing the Casamigos mezcal, and I've been really into mezcals lately. So just trying all the different types. So this one's pretty good. Like by itself, it was really good.
How do you make it?
So the drink is in a shaker. We muddled, just be generous with mint leaves and agave syrup, and then add in about half a lime, the lime juice. Sorry, so squeeze in the lime juice from about half a lime. Throw in the 2 ounces of the mezcal, some ice, shake it up, pour it in a rocks glass with ice, and then top it off with orange juice. Stir that in.
Just a splash.
Splash of orange juice, and then mint on top. Make sure the mint is cracked, clapped. Whatever you got to do to get the aroma out, and then throw it on there. And this shit is awesome. It's so good.
And make sure you do it like in a rocks glass, because we did try it in a taller glass.
Yes.
And it was like too much OJ.
It was fine, but it was too much.
Yeah. But if you know what, for some that might be better, right? If they like it less
it's
strong.
a breakfast drink then. Yeah. Instead of
like
mimosa,
a Christmas morning.
It's
drink.
a Christmas morning. Yeah, exactly, man. It's good. So if you're feeling a little generous with the OJ, go talk.
Go tall glass.
But no, the rocks glass made the drink taste way better, because I feel like all the flavors, you get like a little bit of everything better. Yeah. So really good, man. I really like this. We're calling it the Fueguito. So it's a little smoky.
We'll put it on the IG page
for the gringos.
For the Americans.
There's somebody right now going like, "Fue what?"
All right, man. Yo, my carbon footprint this week is going out to the U.S. Why? Because they recently approved the world's first gene editing therapy. So there's there's this technology called CRISPR, and it's spelled.
Oh yeah.
So CRISPR technology. There's like a Nobel Prize winning technology.
That's how they got the COVID vaccine, isn't it?
No, I thought that was mRNA. No.
Oh, you're right. There's something else that got done with CRISPR. But yeah, sorry. That's the gene editing tool.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
So essentially, it genetically modifies the patient's cells. So this CRISPR technology can like correct mutations that cause diseases, and this thing got approved, and the first approved treatment is for sickle cell disease, which I know a lot of African Americans suffer from that.
Who did this treatment? Who was the leading?
I don't know. That's why I gave it to the U.S. I'm not sure. I don't know who invented it.
No, but the U.S. is like basically the FDA approved, I guess, the use of it, but the research into it treating sickle cell You know who?
Nope.
Nope.
Nope, don't know.
Man, there were so many good jokes there, bro. Can I take a guess?
I don't know. You could. I can. I want to tell you if you're right or not.
Google it.
All right, go ahead. Let me see.
Howard University. Tuskegee Institute.
Did I just change the back?
No.
We're dealing with some new technology here, people.
Nah, because you know sickle cell generally affects mostly African Americans.
That's what I was saying.
So I'm like, oh man, was it it couldn't have been a white school, but maybe I'm wrong, man. I have very little faith in humanity. So the school itself would be the research group.
Editas Medicine, EDITAS.
Bro, that shit is not even a real. That's like my online college. What is going on?
It's leading the way in using the CRISPR to treat rare genetic eye diseases. Sorry, that's that one. I don't know.
That's cool as fuck though, man.
But I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, sorry.
So there's besides the sickle cell, the sickle cell disease, there's also like 280 gene editing therapies in the works, and the whole purpose behind this is like, we talk about like a vaccine, and to me, I always think about a vaccine as like a cure. And it's not, right? Like when you say the flu vaccine, right, or the COVID-19 vaccine, it's like there's a new one every year, right? Because based on how it modifies itself. Yeah. And in this case, this is like this thing truly targets like the root cause, and is like a one and done cure.
Wow, dude, and like you said, this. If you can do it with this, presumably you'll find a way to, because once you can gene edit, it's just sort of pinpointed the genes, right? I mean, maybe I'm oversimplifying that, but
yeah, no, I mean, it appears to be that way. I just wonder, like, when you start messing with that, what are the consequences? Is this like an I Am Legend? Yeah. Does somebody fuck it up and create, and then, quote unquote zombies, right,
bro?
Or do they just do they kind of mess with Homo sapiens as a whole, and then we become like a whole new
perfect the species,
right?
Duh, I just was thinking about like what happens to the people who this shit gets in the wrong hands of, and they want to, like, if you can take something away, then you can give something too. Yep. So imagine you just want to fuck with people and be like, nah, I'm about to give them, whatever. You start giving diseases, or
bro.
Can you imagine?
It's like AI, dude, right? Like AI things like like ChatGPT is kind of made for to help humanity.
Yeah.
But then AI can also be used to take away jobs.
Well, you shouldn't. I mean, I feel like the argument for progress should never be things get too good or the negative. I don't know, like like you said,
there's negatives to everything.
There's negatives to everything. So it's like that shouldn't be a deterrent to progress. Is like it could get everything
could.
But everything. You could make that argument for anything ever invented, right? Like,
we drive cars, right? We drive 2,000-pound plus vehicles,
projectiles,
yeah, right,
like,
at very high speeds down streets, and for the most part, we don't hit each other.
And if you went back in time into medieval times, and I gave you a Ford F-150, you'd fucking dominate a region, bro.
Nah, man, you need a Cybertruck for that.
So you'd just be running over motherfuckers.
So when they shoot arrows at you, it just bounces off.
You're right, bro. But you would be dominant. Like, yeah. It'd be real life Rocket League. You'd just be wilding out in there, just bouncing humans off your windshield.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
So shout out to the U.S. for doing that. I thought about this when I saw this. I thought about stem cells and how they haven't allowed stem cells to be used.
I was literally thinking that when you talked. I'm like, okay, but we still can't do stem cell research.
So I always wonder like why why one not the other. I'm not gonna argue that point, but I'm just.
Yeah, I don't know what it is either, because I used to think there was a religious component to it, and it was a certain party that wouldn't allow it. But I would argue that this is equally as sort of quote unquote playing God if you're gene editing.
What? Yeah, and I don't know. I thought the whole thing with the stem cells was that it had to come from.
It has to come from a fetus.
From a fetus,
yeah,
right?
But you can freeze your own fetus's stem cells. So like you can freeze umbilical cords and whatever. Like, so just in case that fetus needs it later on.
Correct.
you should be able to do that.
And I think you can.
You can freeze the cords, but are you allowed to do treatments? There's certain treatments you're not allowed to, right? I don't know. I think you're allowed to do certain things with it, but I think it's sort of limited. Whereas like in other countries, like you can go get, like a new kneecap or shoulders. And, you know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of crazy. You get some, I guess it's coming from some fetus from some third world country maybe. I don't know. Like if you go to Panama and you get all these, like I know a lot of people go there to get like treatments done. It's like, where do those things
where do they come from? Nobody cares.
Yeah. No, you're right. We don't. I'll be like, am I getting a new knee or not?
Is the kneecap growing back or not? Now I got liver and kneecap.
No, all right. So shout out to these guys, man. That's awesome. The more and more, I feel like we've done so many of these like cancer, either curing treatments or just anything with diseases, and we've been doing the pod, and it's been interesting to see how many just develop. But then like fast forward, I guess 5-10 years from now, like when they're actually, I guess, at work on a day-to-day basis, like it's going to be fascinating to see. Do we talk about certain cancers like the way we talk about, say, polio or whatever?
Yeah.
Like, remember when people used to die from, breast cancer all the time, and then now it's just like a thing.
I just wonder, like, especially when if anything, like when you just mentioned cancer, there's so much money being made on, cancer drugs or drugs for cancer patients. Mm-hmm. If you come out with a cure for it, there's a lot of companies stand to lose a lot of money. Mm-hmm. I always felt like that is a kind of a driver in why we don't have cures for cancer. That's just my thought behind it. But stuff like this.
It's funny. I've gotten more cynical about that, I guess, as I've gotten older.
Really?
Because I didn't used to think that way, and then as I've gotten older, and I guess I don't know, maybe the more time I've spent in, I guess, dealing with medical stuff, like the more I'm kind of like, yeah, this shit doesn't make sense. Like the more you see kind of how expensive the medical field can be, and then how unfair insurances can be with certain things and not others, and just the unreasonability with medications, and you kind of then start to go like, well, yeah, fuck, maybe there is like I don't want to say conspiracy, but there's definitely an incentive to treat and not cure.
Right.
Because
a lot of money to be made, bro.
A lot of money to be made, man. It's weird. Like I never believed in the whole population control thing. I think more than anything, it's the money. It's there's too many mouths to be fed, too many lives, too many, executives with beach houses who rely on, being able to do stuff like this for them to ever go like, just make it go away. Like, it's weird. Yeah.
I don't know. All right, man. What you got?
Bizarre, man. Yeah, I am also picking a carbon footprint this week that is helping save Black lives. Much like yours, I am talking about the murder rate in the U.S. is expected to see a record year drop.
Only for African Americans.
No, it's everybody. I'm allowed to make those jokes because Sean's half black. As our resident. Listen, I'm gonna get a 23andMe just so that I can start using the N-word on air. Because I know I'm gonna get
0.07 Nigerian.
I'm 0.07 Nigerian. Just gonna drop that word on air. but no, dude, it's funny. We were talking. I guess we gotta give the good with the bad. We were talking about how shitty our mass shooting rate is. But on the flip side of that, the U.S. is expected to see a year drop on homicides, and it's in the top 10 cities, and they've seen massive decreases. So like New York down 11%.
Really? Even with all the migrants?
Even with all the migrants and all the shit that they say like makes it horrible. Los Angeles down 16%. As shitty as Los Angeles is now, with all the people moving out and all the stuff happening and the homelessness and all that stuff, down 16%. Chicago down 13%. Houston down 11%. Southside Chicago? It's not specific. Bro, all that 11% is concentrated in the burbs. One less guy killed his wife and kids.
Southside Chicago don't count.
Southside Chicago, they're excluded from the survey.
They're an outlier.
Like, that's not even Chicago. That's Southside. Fuck. So, but like these all have similar drops, like Houston, San Antonio, Dallas. These are major U.S. cities.
So major cities, yeah.
But some of the big ones, man. Detroit, 18%. But I'm like, it's probably because there's nobody left. But then, but Baltimore, 25% drop.
Oh wow.
Rate. But Baltimore is notoriously really bad. But that's a huge number. Washington D.C., which I would, you would argue is sort of Baltimore area, 36% drop in murders in Washington D.C.
So is this from 22 to 23?
Yeah, I think this is in 2023 compared to the prior year. Yep. Miami down 15%, Denver down 4%, Atlanta down 18%. So, like, man, I don't know the like just thinking about what attributes to that. Like, I'm like, all right, DC, and I was trying to think of events, or like Baltimore. Like, is there specific events or like, because we see the school shooting or the mass shooting stuff go up, but then obviously we see some of these murder rates go down, and I know that they're not necessarily equivalent.
Yeah, because I mean, last week we said there was
650 like mass shootings.
Yeah. It was something like almost like 2 per day. And it was one.
What are we on pace for so far?
I don't know. I know there was a news article that broke today that there was some like teenager that shot up some school today.
4th. We better have 8.
No, man, we're trending down.
We're trending down.
We're trending down. Man.
Oh yeah. Sorry, we better not have it.
That's right. We better not have it.
But yeah, dude. So man, shout out to y'all people not killing each other for 2023. It's weird, man, because this was a year that was touted to be, I think, like financially difficult, and there's a lot of hardships, and sort of where people were going to quote unquote wake up post the COVID sort of hangover of people didn't want to go back to work, and they found other means of employment, but then the election year's coming. I don't know. 2023 was supposed to be bad, and normally desperate people do desperate things. Normally you see this. With like obviously a dip in wealth or like an increase in I guess economic turmoil, you do start to see like murder rates and that sort of thing go up. But obviously none of them happened. We didn't see this big.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if it's that. I wonder if it's just people are more entertained. I wonder if it's like, I don't think we suddenly just got smarter. Is it resources? Is it talking about mental health more? I don't know.
I don't know, man.
It's interesting, man.
And even didn't they say we're supposed to go into like a deep recession?
Yeah,
which they're even kind of starting to turn that of going like, oh, maybe not.
Yeah. And then we're going into an election year, so typically you don't see that happen, right? Unless you get some like historic crash, like what happened in the Bush year or whatever, his last year in office, where it just tanked. But normally you don't see that in an election year either. So yeah, I don't know, man. It'll be fascinating to see, and it'll be fascinating to see if this trend continues, or was this just a one-off because people's just focus were on different things. Because I think if people are entertained and people have shit to do, and I don't know, man, like they feel, I guess, like they're contributing members of society, you typically you see a drop in just crime overall. And so I don't know. It was weird. I think the ones from Baltimore and DC just stood out so much because it's like a quarter and a third of murder rates drop. Because for some of these places, it's like 10% might be 2 people.
Right, but 25% in Baltimore, man,
that's a million,
lot, bro.
I don't know how many people.
I don't have either.
But damn, but yeah. So shout out to all you guys not killing people. That's awesome. I say guys because fucking guys are the ones that kill people, bro. Very few women murderers out there, man. Like they usually have their wits about them, and they're all there. They don't think with. I'm gonna rephrase this because I was gonna say they don't think with their hormones, but that is wrong. They don't act. I don't know.
Wrong again.
Also wrong. I'm just gonna back out of this because I don't know. I didn't know where I was going.
It's mostly guys.
We're stupid.
We'll leave it at that.
We just think that's stupid. It's mostly guys, and we're fucking stupid.
Dude, did you watch this movie? I saw this movie a couple of weeks ago, man, on Netflix called Leave the World Behind.
I have not. I've heard a lot about it, but I haven't seen the actual movie yet.
All right, so spoiler alert. I won't say too much about it, but in case you guys want to watch it and fucking fast forward or whatever. Anyway, in this movie, essentially the U.S. gets like cyber attacked, essentially, right? So like there's internet goes down, no cell phone, so you can't communicate with people. You can't call anybody. You can't go online and see what the fuck's going on. They're like distributing fucking flyers to different areas, and the flyers would be like I don't know, like if you're in California where there's maybe a large Asian population, there's flyers down there saying like China's attacking us. But maybe if you're somewhere where maybe the Arab community is great, they'll be dropping flyers saying, the Middle East is attacking us or whatever, Iran's attacking us. It's all like to cause this sort of chaotic
Like
moment,
hysteria,
hysteria,
yeah.
right? Where you can't communicate. You think, and then it's like if your neighbor is, if you're in California, right? Your neighbor's Asian. Now you're going like, oh shit, like is he part of this? Like, who can I trust?
Yeah.
Right? And so, within the movie, you know, they kind of get to a place where there's like where somebody has done one of those like doomsday shelters.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Like a bunker kind of thing.
Almost like that, right? And you've seen these shows with the doomsday preppers where they have these fucking some of them have money and they have like extravagant shit, right? And some of them don't have much money, and it's like it's one of those like what do you call those like storage containers, and they fucking put them underground.
It looks like you're living in a basement. And,
yes.
Yeah.
But man, watching that movie, it made me think of like what like. That would probably be something easy that could happen here, or easily happen here. Yes. And then, dude, if you can't go to the grocery store to go get food, so we're just talking about basic necessities, right? You can't get food, you can't get water from the store. Like, what are you doing? How are you getting food? And if you're in a major city, you're probably fucked. Like, what are you eating?
Bro,
are you eating? You know, like once all of the supermarkets are looted, and everybody's taking whatever they can take. When that shit runs out, then what?
Yeah, most of us are fucked.
Yeah, and I was going like, should we know how to hunt?
Yeah, bro. You try.
You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not saying, listen, I'm not like a believer in like to be like a doomsday prepper, but the movie made me think like, man, there are probably some basic things that you should know. It's just like even neighbors within the movie were kind of like, you know, like there was sort of one scene where a guy kind of had like his food. It was no like doomsday prepper, but he had his food. He had guns, and it was like somebody come to the door and he's like, sorry, bro, like I ain't got nothing for you. And he comes to the door with his gun, right? Like don't fucking try nothing because I'm gonna kill you. So it's like, it's just the distrust. But this guy was one of those people that you go like, he's kind of ready for this. And you go like, most of us are not. Oh my God. Most of us are not ready for that. And it's like, if you had to go fend for yourself and go and hunt for your food, and how many people would not last?
Oh, bro, you try to catch a squirrel? Shit. Like, none of us, man. Dude, admittedly, I think, you know, I feel like a lot of us would get lucky initially. If you know how to use a gun, you will find some kind of animal, you know, close by at first, right? But then eventually you're gonna have to learn a track. And, then skinning it, and how do you prepare it, and how do you know what's edible and what's not, and you know that, you know, so on and so forth. Bro, I still maintain the first person to do anything is my fucking hero, because do you imagine, you know how like we find out certain fish are just poisonous to humans? Oh, yeah. Some motherfucker found that out the hard way. You know what I'm saying? And then somebody found it out for the second time for confirmation. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you're right. Like you know, there's like all these like things where you go, the plants or the berries that you can or can't eat or what, you know, it's like shit like that where I go, man, even if I didn't have to hunt and I could just pick stuff off trees, how do I know what's good? Like we're gonna find that out the hard way, man. Yep. Like, yeah, it's just, dude, none of that basic survival stuff. It's all, and it's weird because none of us know how to do it, but it's still ingrained in our DNA of like that. What do you call that? Sort of like that carnal instinct, like men and women, like to hunt. Yeah, I think just to hunt, or
like hunter gatherers,
to
right?
meet like certain human needs, right? Like women and men are sort of genetically predisposed because we haven't lived in this comfort for long enough for our DNA to sort of recalibrate itself, and so you do have this like men where we're still like aggressive and we still have like this hunter gatherer sort of mentality, even though we haven't had to do that for 200, 300 years, like. Which again, it's not that long ago, but we live in this comfort, which I think is why you see things like the violence that we see or all that stuff. Like we're sort of not programmed to not be that level of violence and that level of like aggression and have that survival instinct in us. Like we're not calibrated for that yet. Like for this life of sort of like I don't know, posh, I guess, for lack of a better thing. And then like with women, same thing. Like you. like women were sort of programmed at a point in time to go for like the protector or the, you know, like the person who could take care of the tribe and who could bring food. And, you know, because protector didn't necessarily mean like physically imposing, but it was like, who's going to keep me fed and do all that stuff? Because, you know, like, and then, you know, like being motherly, or the mother was like considered sort of like a high value or whatever that is. But like that stuff is still in our DNA, but we don't operate that way as a society anymore. So it's like really weird because our instinct is like sort of combating with our reality. It's like, and in a situation like this, I wonder, do we thrive though? Because maybe we just need that push
to go back the other way. Like, yeah, I hear like, you know, like for me, I'd be like, fuck, I wouldn't know where to start. But it's like, how quickly does that go away? Yeah,
because we're still genetically programmed to be that way.
Yeah, and it's even you mentioned guns, right? Like, how many of us don't own guns, right? And then it's like, okay, so let's just say you get your hand on one. How many folks even understand how to? Yeah, you can shoot it, but are you aiming right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, are you if you're just going out to sort of kill something to eat it? Are you missing most of those shots?
How do you say? Do you not create bullets? Make them, because you got to find them, or you're gonna run out shooting arrows. You know, like you learn how to use a bow.
Yeah,
because you can retrieve it and then figure out how to fix them and repair them. And you know.
Dude, for Christmas, man, I got a fucking bow, which I used to shoot archery when I was a kid, and I think sometime this year I told my wife, like, yo, I want a bow. I want a bow again. And it was cool because this weekend I was shooting and my sons came outside and it was their first time, and they really liked it.
Yeah.
Dude,
step one, bro. You on the way. You on the way.
I'm on the way.
You on the way.
But it's like, you know, but it was funny, like watching those guys shoot and going, man, like this is not like it's not instinctual, right? Like it's a skill.
It used to be for almost like. Almost required, right? Like mandatory.
And for humans still in other parts of the world, that's their main their main sort of weapon of choice to go and find food. Like there's tribes in South America and in Africa that still use that.
Just crazy, man. Yeah, I have so many thoughts on that, like the premise behind that movie, because it's like that what you were saying, like going back to primitive times, like how many of us, I don't know, like do we thrive in this? And but it also just shows like these comforts that we have that don't really matter, but have like don't really matter as far as like humans are concerned, like the internet, or like how crippled we would be as a species, or so we think, I guess. Or so we're crippled because we don't have access to the internet. But it's like we are from a national defense standpoint, and then it also shows, like, you know how people now, like, we're really stupid in the sense that like people believe everything they watch on, you know, whatever, Fox or CNN or whatever their sort of
TikTok,
Facebook, like, you know, all of it. And it's funny, man, I'll see articles that people will show me that are clearly wrong, and I don't know how I know that they're clearly wrong, but I just kind of know. Maybe it's, I don't know, product of not being dumb or just growing up in this generation where the internet, I think, was always lying to me or trying to. And so, like, you know, like you ever get like people in your family, like sometimes it's elderly, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's people that are like your age and they're showing you something like, did you see this? And you're like, that's not real.
That's not real.
And they're arguing with you of like, no, but it is. But it's like, but it's not real. Like, we're just so gullible, and we're easy to sort of get riled up and then worked up and get like against something that, like, I can see people dropping flyers and automatically people lose their shit. Like, nobody looks and goes, hey man, like, this something seems off here. Like, maybe we should, you know, like, it's just no one would question that. We would just go to mass hysteria and mass hate, because you saw it during everything, bro. During COVID, we couldn't agree on shit. During, like, it was like whatever news thing you were watching, whatever your friends were telling you, and then we seek sort of people that think like us because we seek affirmation, not the information. So it's like then everyone around you believes how you believe and tells you the same thing, and it's just like, we would be so susceptible to something like that, I think, as a society, like, because it's really fucking easy to sort of trick us using the things that we think are sort of our friend, which is like the internet and, you know, the entertainment, quote unquote, that we seek out.
Yeah. And so this movie was it was made or produced by the company called Higher Ground Productions, which is actually founded by Barack and Michelle Obama.
Really?
Yeah, back in 2018. And so if you go to that website, it's highergroundmedia.com. There's actually several movies that they have out of this production company, and they're all on Netflix.
Really?
Yeah. And they're like I guess their motto of the company is to tell powerful stories that entertain, inform, and inspire while elevating new and diverse voices in the entertainment industry.
But Julia Roberts is the star of this movie, right?
She's not the star, but she's one. It's her. It's fuck man. There's actually like four, like the four main characters are all well known actors and actresses.
Okay.
So she's just one of them.
So she's just one of them.
Yes.
That's cool.
Ethan Hawke is one of them.
Okay.
That's her husband. And then shit, man. It's like there's a father and a daughter. That's like the other two characters. But I can't remember their names, but they're well-known actors and actresses. Yeah. So it was well done. I didn't like the way it ended, but then when I kind of walked away and thought about it, I was like, there's no other way to end that.
Yeah, this is on Netflix.
Yes.
Oh, I'm gonna have to check it out. Okay.
Yeah. Definitely
so
worth the time.
I couldn't tell you the last movie that I saw. I've watched a lot of movies lately that my kids pick, and a lot of it is like old shit, or I'm in the middle of rewatching the Dark Knight trilogies with them.
Really?
They've never seen it, so
They never-
I've watched.
oh,
So
yeah,
like I'm
that-
watching
those are
those,
good,
and
man.
I love those. So I've watched those, but like, and then I'm into like watching a lot of horror movies with my daughter now because she can watch them. So we've been watching a lot of random horror movies.
Like what? Would you anything good?
The Purge series is like the one we're into right now,
that's
the
good.
Purge movies. But then there's also a Purge TV series, which we didn't know about. And so we stumbled upon it looking for like the Purge movie. So we've been watching this Purge series too, which is actually pretty good so far.
Good, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think of like the last movie on Netflix that I sat down and watched. Dude, you know what I just watched recently, actually? You want to laugh at me? I just saw Equalizer, the first one, I think. I'm pretty sure. First and second one. I just
Isn't
seen
that
those
with,
movies.
Denzel?
It was Denzel. I think
those are old, right?
I think those are the most recent movies that I've seen in terms of like just watching them. Bro, I haven't like, I'm trying to, there's so many on Netflix that I've set up on the queue. I feel like this one is one of them. There's another one that you asked me to watch a while back.
Arrival.
Yes, I think I still have that one on
Bro,
my
you
queue
got
somewhere,
that one
man.
you gotta watch,
Yeah.
man. Another really good movie. If you guys haven't seen it, Arrival. I will not do a spoiler on that one. That's definitely worth watching.
Yeah, man, I'm so I need to do like a catch up.
Yeah, the
lazy movie
premise behind it
weekend.
is fucking insane. You walk away from there just going like, "Fuck!" Like, what would I do? And then you know, if you're a parent, you know
what you would do.
You know what you would do. Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like watching stuff like that where you're just like, there's a decision to be made, but that seems hard. But like you said, as a parent, you're like, nah, I know what I do. Like, yeah.
And it's almost like a no brainer.
It's hard for people who aren't parents.
If you're not a parent,
If you're not a parent, you're not the parent of the child it's affecting. I guess it's an easier choice. But then, yeah, it's weird. It's weird you say this. Like I was thinking about because we're watching the Dark Knight trilogy, and the second one, the Dark Knight, where he gives the two people on the boats the controls, and so the Joker's like playing this game with them, where like one boat is full of convicts and one boat is like the people sort of coming home from work.
Okay.
And he rigs both with explosives, and he gives a controller to each one, and they can each blow the other one up. And sort of, like the group as a collective is like sort of voting on it and trying to decide whether or not, and there's like a countdown going. But it's like that whole human element of like you see
The folks coming home from work are probably like, I don't, they're
they
going
ain't
like,
shit.
those are convicts.
Those are convicts.
Do they know that they're convicts?
I think so. Yeah. So it's just like
Yeah, I
those
don't
pieces
remember
of
that. I
shit.
don't
Like
remember
what?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
right. Like
interesting.
just like fucking blow them up
It's
now.
towards the end of the movie where he's like, Joker's like fighting with Batman. He's arguing. He's like, no, they're gonna do it. And then like they never blow each other up, right? Like they come to a vote or whatever, and the people sort of decide against it. And whatever the day is saved or blah blah. But it's like his point was this kind of like just to show how fucked up we are, how we would like how society would sort of eat itself up from the outsides or from the inside out. Yeah. But it's like one of those like choices you have to make as like not necessarily as a parent, but just like I think just as people, we're always like, fuck, if I was in this situation, I would.
Right.
We can all
And
say
you never
that.
know,
You
man.
never know,
Let me tell you, Lee, I've said many things over the years of just like, oh, if that ever happens to me, I would do X, and then when it did happen, it's just like, oh shit, it really depends on your circumstances of just like where you are in life, maybe who's the people around you, what's your situation, like all of that shit comes into play when something actually happens. And whatever you thought you was gonna do, there's a lot of times where you go like you're in a situation and you go, nope, I'm not doing that.
Dude, there was I don't know if you saw Dave Chappelle's special, The Dreamer.
I have not.
Towards the end of the special, so he spends a lot of time talking about the Will Smith and Chris Rock thing because of his ties to both of them, I guess. But like towards the end of it, you know, he has this bit that I found kind of really profound and sort of like one of the best, most articulate, I guess, ways of describing sort of the feeling behind it, you know, because like ultimately it ends up with that, with like, yo, until you're in that situation, he's like, yo, people ask me all the time what I would do.
Oh, okay. So like if you're in Chris Rock's situation,
right? Like if you're Chris Rock, what would you do?
Gotcha.
You know, it's like, oh, if that was you, what would you have done? You know, and he's like, you know, sort of paraphrasing here, but he sort of like compares himself to like, the thing is that I am Will Smith, and you know this, you know, whatever, I'm going through this, and then I am Chris Rock, and you know, like, and he's like, so, you know, the thing is that like they're both me, and so and could be me, and so it's like hard to answer that, but man, it's just like a really profound sort of speech, because you know Dave does a lot of, I guess, like public speaking now, for lack of a better thing. You know, he's not doing like bits per se, like he's sort of like just having this
kind of telling stories, right?
And but yeah, man, it was just really profound, and like it just made me think about that situation like very differently.
So was he trying to say stuff like, was he basically saying like, you know, sometimes you have to fight, and then sometimes you gotta know when to fucking stand down.
Essentially, he was like, I've been Will Smith. I'm the guy who's like on his last, you know, who's at his wit's end, and he's had enough, and he's one person away from pushing me over the edge. Right. He's like,
we've all been there.
Yeah, man. And then he's like, and then I'm Chris Rock. I'm that. And I think the phrase he uses, I'm that dreamer who's got this amazing thing, and this situation, yes, this has happened, but I'm doing everything in my power to hold on to this, so it's not all taken away from me. And it's just like just how you think about that. And then he goes into like, and this is what it's like to be a man. And it's like this conflicting of this yin and this yang, is like, I'm expected to be this, you know, yes, I have these feelings and I have these emotions and I have these things that I go through and I have these frustrations and things will set me off. But then I also have to be mindful of like, I can also lose the things that I worked for that, you know, got me there, and that, like, you know, and it's just like, and those things are in sort of constant struggle with each other, because
very true, man.
Man, and I'd never considered, like, we always talked about how like, yo, you know, we had read, you know, some of Will's book and at that time, and we were just kind of like, man, I can see how he got there and this and that, and you know, same thing with Chris Rock. But I think just how, for someone who has like that, I guess a relationship, you know, with one of them on a personal level, but then, you know, just the way he articulated it, I was like, wow, it's just like a really profound way, because he sort of tied it into like, yeah, this is all of us, and both of them are all of us, and you know, there isn't I guess a right or wrong way to handle that. Right. Or like a way that you should criticize or judge any of them. Like,
I think it's really about the judgment, right? Because like you say, we could all be caught up in a situation like that, whether you're the person getting set off, or you're the person, you know, having to exercise restraint. Yep. At a time when you want to explode.
Yeah, like you could be Will. Any of us could be Will. And he's absolutely right. I'm like, yo, we've all had moments in our life where we're like, not today, bro, because I'm on my last. You know what I mean? And then like all it takes is like for someone to catch you in that moment, and you are going to show the worst of yourself. And unfortunately for him, it was on, you know, global television. But
right.
It's like we all have those moments and are capable of stuff like that. Like I've never, you know, we joke around here all the time. I've never met anyone that I didn't think wasn't capable of anything in my life. Like there's very few people that I've met that I would be shocked if I heard some story about them. Like, yeah. So it's just like, that doesn't mean that we're all bad. I just think that we're all human. Like it's just, part
absolutely,
of it.
Bro. Dude, speaking of fucking humans, friggin' Barry Sanders, man. There's another one that I watched recently, and it was on, I don't know if it's on friggin' Prime. I think it's on Prime.
Okay. This is like his sort of
it's kind of his story,
Last Dance type thing.
Yeah, kind of. It's kind of shows how he comes into the NFL and how the Lions do well. But the reason why I watched it was because I never got sort of closure as a fan. I'm not a Lions fan, but I watched this guy torch the Bears for years, right? And so I never understood why he left.
Oh, that's right. He retired pre-30 or right at 30.
Dude, he was literally like 1,500 yards away. That's one thing I didn't know. Why he's 1,500 yards away, or approximately, from breaking Walter Payton's all-time rushing record.
So one season, maybe two.
Who ended up getting his record broken by Emmitt Smith, who, by the way, came out a year or so, and maybe apart from Barry Sanders, maybe the same year. I have to go look that up, but it came out pretty
right, 89,
pretty
90.
close, man. At the time when he was 1,500 yards away from breaking the record, Emmitt Smith was like 4,000 yards away from breaking that record. And Emmitt Smith was a fantastic running back. But just goes to show like the difference in the amount of the difference in that talent level.
Oh yeah, and you knew if Emmett got it, Barry was gonna. And now who's to say Emmett played longer? He wouldn't have eventually broken Barry's record too. Like if Barry breaks it.
Yeah,
Well, he does,
maybe,
I guess, because if he gets
bro.
4,000 more, because if Barry just barely breaks it, then Emmett definitely passes it.
Correct.
Yeah.
But if he plays through, if he has a Emmitt Smith type
Career.
in longevity,
Right. Yeah, then he shatters that.
Then
you would think.
right.
Yeah.
So the thing that he went into was they actually at one point they changed the coach, and then the organization started to let go of guys in the locker room that were not only great players but also leaders in the locker room. And so they just started this slow downward, like this slow decline. And it was like he sort of said like sort of came in, had high hopes, made the playoffs, right? And it was always like this next season they started seeing this downward trend. And then he said as they started to get rid of people, and like I said, people that were friends of his, leaders in the locker room, and man, and that's what kind of made him go, it's enough.
So it's like a job for him, like any other job.
That's
where,
right,
where
bro.
your maybe your leadership goes, or your coworkers who you really enjoy, and
Yeah,
suddenly
dude. And I thought about that, man.
Wow.
I'm just like, yo, managers, check in on your people, and make sure your people they're doing okay, but that there's also like if there's people within your organization that kind of are like the glue. And we've been in, and I've been in places like this,
Yeah.
and I've also been in places like this where these people are let go.
Yeah, and they don't necessarily maybe do. They don't maybe hold a high level or whatever.
Correct.
But like you said, they're the glue. They sort of keep everyone together, and
Yep.
there's a value there that can't be quantified
No, absolutely not, man.
because it affects so much and so many.
Dude, I remember, and I may have told you a story before, man. My father, he told me a story about it when he was like a leader of or a manager of this X-ray department in New York City. He said he had a guy that worked for him, and he wasn't the best worker.
Okay.
And he goes, but for some reason, when the guy was in the office, everybody else worked better. And he goes, I could have easily fired this guy because he wasn't the best worker. And he goes, but for some reason, everybody liked him, and when the guy worked, he says, I got more production out of everybody else.
You had to keep them around.
So he's like, so I kept the guy around because he wasn't a bad guy. He just wasn't my best worker. And he wasn't even in the top, he wasn't even, he was in the bottom of the people that sort of produced.
Gotcha.
But he made everybody else in a better mood, and they all produced more when the guy was working.
Man, kudos to him for recognizing that.
Yeah, bro.
How many people do recognize that, man? Like the fuck, I'm not getting what I want from this person, but the ability to sort of see past that and go, but everybody else works better when he's here.
Yeah, everybody's fucking happier.
Together. How many people would be oblivious to that? Wouldn't even notice, man.
Yeah, because you probably get shitty reviews every year.
Yep. No, but like even like, would you notice if somebody was gone? Like, man, suddenly everybody works harder when this person's here, or how many people are oblivious to that,
Yeah.
man? Like we've all worked with people like that, where you're just like, they're not paying attention, like, or just things like that don't click. Dude, I've been the guy who's fired the guy that everybody's liked, and I don't say that proudly, man, but like, it sticks with me because they were someone who people liked a lot.
Really?
And man, and yeah.
So did you fire this person because their production was low?
Yeah, they were just terrible, man. And they didn't make everybody else better. At least I didn't notice. But it was just, this person was just bad. but they were so nice and by the way, nice through the firing.
So you must have really felt like shit.
I felt like an asshole. And yeah, man. But there's something to be said for like, there's a somber feeling in the room after that, and there's a risk there of you losing everybody else because you let go of someone who, from a personal level, people were like, yo, he comes to my house for holidays, and my kids know him, and this and that, and then I'm looking at this person as I don't want to say a number, but it's like the productivity is not there, and then maybe there's some embarrassing events here in between in terms of like the perception of the department because of some stuff that he did, but he's so beloved in the department, like so those are always really hard, man. So I've been on that side of that, man, and that was like, that's a lonely feeling, bro, in an office.
And everybody's like
Juan's an asshole. Guy. Yeah. Oh yeah. yeah. It wasn't fun, man. I mean, I always hate those, but that was a tough one. And then the fact that he took it so well made it even tougher. And like, and you just go like, man, I hope you find something that is for you, because I want to see you do well.
Yeah.
It just can't be here. Like it's one of those. Yeah. So it feels like a breakup to somebody who hasn't done anything wrong. You know what I mean? Like where you're just like, yo, you're cool, but
isn't that how it normally is?
Yeah. Nah, somebody usually does something wrong. No, but you're just like, it's not you, it's me. I don't know. I was just like, it was weird. It was definitely hard. But it's like, we forget like. Let's say I have to say like the whole NFL. It's a job. Like we look at it as a football player, the thing, but at the end of the day,
and that's the way. Yeah, and that's the way in that special. It also showed how he didn't really give a shit about the accolades. He didn't really give a shit. Barry is he's very famous for scoring touchdowns and just handing the football to the ref. Like he didn't do any fucking dances, celebrations in the end zone. He was sort of like all business.
Yeah,
he didn't even really care about like I think at the end of the year or at the end of the season. They would bring the team in and they would give like almost like a most valuable player, but for just within the team.
Yeah,
and he would get those trophies, and he said towards the end he would like leave the trophy at like his friend's house. Like none of that shit was important to him. He would put himself out of games where they were just ahead by a lot. He's just like, nah, like put somebody else in. Like I'm good. So he was that kind of guy. And
it's interesting because the running back that at that time, it's a position, running back at that time is a very sexy me position.
My
it's
gosh,
like wide receiver, right? Like look at me, I'm the star of the team.
Yep.
Yeah. Like running back is the see me, position back.
Absolutely. And so you could see that kind of like that was just his personality. And so when it came to this and he just saw the organization kind of going in this direction, he could have easily just become a free agent, right? Like finish out his contract, become a free agent, put me somewhere but he was just like, nah, like I don't want to do it nowhere else. I'm good.
Dude, I always thought it was a health thing.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a health thing.
So it wasn't a health thing at all. Meaning like, how you're saying, like he said, take me out of games. I remember hearing stories like that where they would be up and I always thought it was his worry of his physical health of like, I don't want to take shots I don't need to take. I don't want to.
If that was the case, man, he didn't mention it.
No, I'm saying this isn't anything that I heard. It was just my assumption, based on the fact that he retired so early. Yep. Like whenever I see like Megatron, but then I go, maybe there's something about Detroit that makes these guys want to go. But like,
hey, like no mas,
like, yeah, like I always thought it was whenever I see football players retire young, I assume if it wasn't an injury that happened, it's sort of like avoiding. Knowing what we know now sort of about football, I always thought it was like, hey, these guys are thinking, let me walk away while I still have my wits about me.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Yeah.
Did you see these college football playoffs this weekend? Or this past weekend?
I did, man. I watched, unfortunately, too many of the ones that didn't matter, or a little bit of the ones that didn't matter. And then, as a Texas fan, I had to struggle through that on Monday night.
But you got to love Penix, man.
Dude,
that dude might be the best guy coming out of college.
I think he should be the number one quarterback taken. I get if the first team doesn't take a quarterback, they don't need one. But I think when there's time to take a quarterback, I don't see how you pass on him. I can make an argument for Bo Nix. Penix has the fact that he's beat Bo Nix twice, dad, and just watching him torch that Texas secondary this week, man, I'm like, jeez.
I was just surprised on what, and I was always amazed by him this entire season. Whenever Washington was on TV, I tried to watch because and his throwing motion is kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's unorthodox. Yeah,
but he drops stuff in there, and he always has this shit. Like he pulls back like the bow, like he's fucking shooting, and it is like this guy is just on target. He's just on target most of the time, and he just puts the ball right where he wants it to be
every time.
And so that was fun to watch. Let me tell you what wasn't fun to watch. Every other bowl game,
fucking horrible. Well, I don't even, and I go, maybe this is I'm not acclimated to the college football thing yet, clearly, but I'm like, all right, I've been watching for 20 years now, college football, and I don't understand the premise behind bowl games. It don't matter. Like, I really don't get it. Like, I don't get why they're a big deal. I don't get why people are excited to get into them. There's literally zero upside to them. I guess monetarily they matter. The team gets money,
the team gets money, but like to your point. So we talked about this several weeks back. Like FSU ended up playing Georgia. FSU, there was 14 starters. So granted, there's only 22 starters, right? There's 14 starters decided not to play, either because they were going to the NFL or the transfer portal.
Wow, man.
And so, so that game was atrocious. I think it was like 60-something to 3 or some shit like that. It was something really retarded that Georgia just like cleaned them up. And then I was thinking about this, and I'm going, man, for the brand of college football, like that has to hurt the brand. And even you mentioned a little while ago, Bo Nix, who's from Oregon. Oregon played Liberty. Listen, Conference USA should not be playing like Power 5 conferences in a bowl game. Bro. It was horrible.
It's fucking horrible. Yeah, Liberty's undefeated.
Right. Yeah, not anymore.
Not anymore, bro. Yeah, and they got the shit kicked out of them.
Yeah, it was bad, man. And so I'm actually more excited for the 12 teams next year.
Yeah.
Because I hope they probably won't be this way because there's money to be made in the other bowl games. But I'm just like, just leave the 12 teams. If you don't make the 12, you didn't qualify.
Dude,
That's
to
it.
me, the bowl game should be now these playoffs and then end it with the Rose Bowl. To me, the Rose Bowl should be the national title game every year. It's the prettiest. I was telling my brother, we were watching this on Monday, and the Rose Bowl game, and I'm like, it has to be the prettiest from a aesthetic perspective, like finish in sports. When that team wins and they rain literally the roses onto the fields and the sun is setting over California, you're like, that looks like a fucking postcard every time. I'm like, that is a beautiful like visual. Like as a sports fan, it's like it's cool, but like just anybody looking in, you're like, it's Southern California in January in this like backdrop that it doesn't even look like you're in America. Like it just looks like just the prettiest thing. Like I feel like that should be, the way the Super Bowl, I get that it moves every year and all that. I don't think anybody's complaining if the national title game is at the Rose Bowl every year. You already have this bowl game. Like make that the finale and make it on New Year's Day.
It's funny you say that, man. I just finished watching the series Prime. On Prime, which is Deion Sanders.
Oh, I didn't realize he had a series.
Yeah, so there's like 5 episodes per series. The first season goes with him when he was with Jackson State, and then the second season is him with Colorado.
Oh wow, okay,
so
that's cool.
Yeah.
So it's him.
It's worth watching. It's worth watching. And then obviously it's focused on him, but it follows a few players too. So you kind of get to know the players a little bit and kind of what they're like and their off-field struggles and things like that. But to your point of the Rose Bowl, there's a point there where he takes all his coaches to the Rose Bowl. I forget if I guess they were playing. Is that where they played Oregon? They played somebody there, man. I can't remember who it was. But
USC. Yeah.
So they're gonna play there, and they walk into the stadium, and he goes, "Fuck, man, I never played here. This is amazing." And Deion, who had a illustrious college career and illustrious NFL career, right? Absolutely, bro. And so for him to go like to be in awe walking in there was pretty cool.
Fucking pretty, bro. Like every time I see it on TV, I'm like, wow, man, that has to be cool to be in there. Like it's just beautiful. Like that backdrop of that stadium. No, man.
I don't think I've ever taken notice, man.
am so. I don't even know what the word is. I see it. It's like the most romantic.
It's a romantic.
It really is, man. It's like a romantic sight, like you're watching this game and just that backdrop against these mountains and the sun setting, and it's just this gorgeous. Always, it's never fucking raining, right? Because it's Southern California. It's just the sun is shining. And even the colors look more vivid. And I don't know, it's because of how the sun hits that stadium, but it's always like at the end of the game when they're giving all the kids the roses and the roses are raining down on the field and yada, yada. I'm like, even the colors look more vibrant to me. I don't know what it is. Yeah. It's something, there's something really cool and magical about that thing that I'm like,
I gotta take notice. Where's the national championship game being played next Monday?
That's a good question. I think it's Vegas this year. Is it Vegas? Because I feel like it's the same site as the Super Bowl's in Vegas this year, right?
Oh, good question. I don't know.
No, maybe I'm wrong because we just did. Don't quote me on that, man. Maybe we should look at national title game 2020. What is it? Would this be 2023?
2023. Yeah, I guess.
Here we go. So national title game.
Stadium.
Yeah, you would think it would be. You would think it would be like the first thing that comes up. Here we go. Look, I gotta click through and see like how many. Why? Damn it, Lord. Here we go.
All right, well, while you look for that, man, I'm gonna tell you that
Houston.
Oh yeah,
Houston. Yeah, so I was off.
Is that a dome?
Yes, that is. Yeah, it's like a retractable roof. I think. Yeah. It's an indoor. Yeah.
Wow, I wonder why there.
I think these teams bid on stuff too. Like, and I'm guessing it's where the Texans play, so it's pretty big.
Yeah.
So, I think it's the same as the Super Bowl. Like, you can bid for it and then
you just get picked or don't.
Because I know that the Hard Rock Stadium has gotten it a few times, the national title game, and then like, I thought maybe it's next year. I know Vegas is getting their first Super Bowl. I think this one is in Vegas, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Man, the one coming. And then there's another one, man. I thought college football was getting one in Vegas, man. Maybe it's next season, but yeah, I don't know, man. To me, get rid of to your point, like just rid of these fucking bowl games that don't matter. Make the playoffs these bowl games because they don't. I feel like they're if even the players don't care about, like, the stakes aren't high enough, so the players don't care about playing in them.
Right. If you're not in the top four, it didn't really matter.
It didn't really matter. So then why am I, unless you're a player playing for a roster spot the next year on the same team, like, you don't care. Do you incentivize players with maybe personal incentives by winning that game? Like is that how you fix that? Money? Fuck, it works for NBA guys. It works for NFL guys.
But the school can't, right?
No, like from the game itself, right? You have nil deals now, so the school doesn't have to pay you. But if you win, winning team gets this pool of money for players.
So then everybody gets a cut.
Everybody gets a cut. So now everyone's incentivized. Like, do you do something like that?
But I think does that make you a professional?
Man, I think that by the way
because the nil deals
are done.
Yeah, but the nil deals are outside. It's like outside money.
So then
right?
you make it whoever's the sponsor. Fucking Tostitos is giving you guys a sponsorship for a day. 10,000. Like, it's a really easy workaround, I think, monetarily. Like the same way all those players got those free trucks. What was the team that gave away the free trucks?
No, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, one of the local dealership gave every player on I can't remember the name of the school, but there's a college. Every player got a free pickup truck, and it was like their leases for like a year or two, whatever. Every player gets on. But it's like there's ways around that. Like now that there's before it was more difficult, right? Because you had to sort of be quiet about it. But now that they're allowed to make money, now you're just fucking circumventing what they can do to make money, and so you can be outward about it. Like, I don't know, we're going through this thing. It's not a payment. It's a sponsorship. Yeah, I don't know.
And the other thing that I learned was that Mike Norvell, which is the coach for Florida State, is a fan of the show.
Yo, shout out Mike, yo.
Because he must have listened to me on a Nub episode a few weeks ago.
He stole your speech verbatim.
Damn it.
Verbatim, bro.
Back when they got snubbed, I came on here, we did the pod, and I basically was like, man, for the Florida State players, they went undefeated. I basically was like, you can do everything right and still lose out. And when they got their asses whooped, Mike Norvell in their locker room basically told them similarly, hard work does not guarantee success. And and I was hoping that he would kind of come with some message like that for them because, yo, that's life.
Yeah, man. Shout out to him because, like you said, we had that conversation here, and it's really easy to take that bitter route of like poor us and we didn't get picked for this and whatever else.
Yeah, screw the committee.
Yeah,
that kind of shit.
And for him to take that route and also, use it to prove a point of a message that it sounds like he had already told them, because he says, hey, when I got here, I told you hard work does not guarantee success. And so, yeah, man, I was like, yo, clearly he listens to the show. You're welcome for giving you your post-game speech. We do what we can. Come on the show, man. We'll make you a drink. we can talk about how we fixed this for you and the college committee moving forward. But I'm really glad because, to your point before, it's like this is a life lesson that it's at their age and at what they do, it seems like the biggest deal and maybe the biggest what ifs of their life. But the lesson that they would have taken forward from that, and it's that, the whole, the hard work doesn't guarantee the success thing. I think it's something that they'll carry with them forever.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How we doing on time, bro?
We're right at an hour.
Oh, shit.
It's like you got an internal clock for this now, man.
Tell me about, somebody's driveway.
Yo, did you see this?
No, I did not.
Fucking Florida, bro. So
it's Florida story?
Of course it's Florida, bro. Every week I gotta have
gotta go with
what's
Florida
popping
story.
in Florida
Come on,
this
man.
week.
What we got?
And so this lady, man, pulls up to her house on a random Tuesday, and her driveway is missing. I mean, literally, her driveway is just dirt.
And
someone has taken out all the concrete, and it is no longer there, and it is gone. And actually, and I'll give you, I'm going to take this one step further. This is down the street from here. It was in Orlando.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm assuming they found out what happened. Did somebody because you can get your driveway sort of replaced, right? You can come, they can come bust it up. Did somebody come bust it up?
Yeah.
Like.
So what they're thinking now is that the company made a mistake on the address and they busted up her driveway. And then
she get a new driveway.
So she getting a new driveway. Yep, from the company that fucked it up is gonna obviously replace it and pour her a new driveway and all that. So kudos to her.
Kudos to her. But if it's anything like mine, she need to get it replaced,
bro. And that shit is expensive, so you got to be thinking twice about it. You're like, yeah, I don't need it that bad,
dude. I want to say, fuck, man. My neighbor got hers done several years ago, and it was like 10 G's for a fucking driveway.
Yeah, that's insane, man.
For something you just ride, park your cars on. For some concrete.
I can't even. I'm a little salty. I got a quote today for about 10 G's to fix a couple things that's wrong with my car.
For your car. That's not even the driveway. Damn, you didn't get a driveway out of it.
So I'm a little salty on 10 G. I'm like,
sorry, man.
Yeah, why you gotta go?
I should have brought
man.
that up.
You should. Fuck, I need to pour me another gin. But the hilarious part is, right? You pull up at home and your fucking driveway's gone. Like, what do you?
Parking dirt.
Yeah, but what goes through your mind?
Oh my god! Bro.
Because like you and I have, I guess, the wherewithal, the experience to know, like, oh, someone must have gotten the address wrong and fucking tore this up, and then whatever.
Yeah.
But how many people would be like, don't even know that's a thing?
What happened?
What happened to my?
What happened? They don't call nobody.
Who do you go? Imagine if no one's there. Who do you call? Yeah, you better hope you got a ring. And I guess you catch someone or some kind of camera.
Yeah.
Like, and then you catch them. Yeah, who do you call? Who do you check? How do you find out?
Your neighbor was like, oh, I thought you were getting it replaced.
Bro, how's that 911 call go? Because, right, do you report it stolen? What do you mean? Like, when I left this morning, there was a driveway. When I got home from work, it was gone. I don't know what to tell you, bro.
It was the aliens.
Because literally the picture of her house, it's dirt. And there's no like residue or garbage left or
so
a
they
dumpster.
did a great job.
Fantastic. Like I would hire these people in a heartbeat.
While she was at work.
While she was at work and it came back. They did
I
all
wonder how the fuck do they bust that up, I wonder.
I've seen
like jackhammers and they
No, bro. I've seen them. Well, I guess maybe you could do the jackhammers, but I've seen them use the actual the bulldozer, the cup to the bulldozer, literally smack it down on it and then pick the piece up and then throw it into there.
Wow.
Yeah, because you know how sometimes they'll have like the pointy ends.
Yeah.
I've seen them literally just.
So
use
you
that.
couldn't make quick work of it if you had a machine.
Yeah,
like
just
that.
doom, scoop it. Put it in the dump. Yeah, it's great, and it's not a huge one. It's not like you have a fucking runway for a driveway. This isn't. That's why yours is gonna be fucking 10 G's. It's like
no, my shit's probably be 20 G's now with the way prices are.
Yeah, paving a county road.
Yeah, fuck that, man. We already, you know what? We talked about like replacing it or get, you know. Now we're down to we're gonna fix that section.
Just ourselves. Bro, you got. I remember the first time parking in your driveway, bro. I thought I turned down a street. I was like, the fuck? The house is up here somewhere. Long ass driveway, bro. I was like, damn, bro. And land planes on that. I thought it was, you know that neighborhood in Ocala with the runways and then people park their 747s on that shit? Yeah. I was like, man, Ocala, like, what the fuck is going on here, bro? This shit is crazy.
Listen, it comes in really handy when you got get-togethers.
Dude, for parties, no one parks on the streets, right?
Everybody parks on the streets.
I believe you, bro. And then some. That's crazy, bro. All
right, bro, what you want to end with?
Ooh, what we got? That's a
Tell me about what about you want to do this Tinder plan?
Yo. Yeah, we got to do this Tinder thing, man. So if you guys don't know, like Tinder's obviously a dating app. Very popular, probably the most popular dating app, I guess.
It's basically like, is it a dating app or is it a hookup app?
Yeah, it's for fucking. I mean,
okay, it is, right?
I think the premise, I guess it's dating, but I think it's understood. Well, I don't know. Yeah, I think Tinder's the one that it's for hookups. Yeah, so
okay.
There is a new subscription service on Tinder that costs $500 a month. And it is invitation only. I like it. Keep the wheels turning. It is invitation only. And it allows you exclusive, I guess. I guess would hook you up more with the people that you match closest with, which I thought was the premise behind a dating app anyway. And then gives you all this other access to people, and I guess helps you show up more in feeds of people you're compatible with and whatever else. It's like for $500, and is
that like per month?
Yes.
Get the fuck out of here,
bro.
Now you have to pay $500. Is that like the blue check mark of fucking Instagram? You know what I mean? Is that like if it's almost like if you're paying that fee. Is it known that you're paying that fee depending on how you show up, and then people that want to match with you know that you are able to pay that fee, and then therefore maybe you are more attractive?
Yeah, man. And that's a good point. And then
it's the blue check mark.
It's the blue check mark. So now you're more desirable.
Yeah.
Because people think you have money. But then,
because that's a real thing.
Absolutely. But when I guess it does work for hookup culture too, right? Like if people know, but I don't know. But if you think they have money, like I'm not trying to fuck you because if you think someone has money, you want the long term, sort of benefits.
But you
of
said you said it's a dating app.
Yeah.
So I guess it can basically be used for both. I've always heard of it as like the hookup.
No, for sure. Me too. It's fascinating. Like I'm thinking about it now. But also, I would be really weirded out by anyone who had to pay $500 to get laid. Like,
dude, I know people who basically who say like being like out in the dating world again is horrible. And
for sure.
And they can't find, and they can't find that sort of like that special companion, and they've tried dating apps and things like that. And if there was something that you pay for, maybe in hopes that you go, okay, I'm going to pay this for a couple of months, find my match, and then I stop.
Man, this is where the old guy in me, I guess, shows up, because like I'm not anti dating apps.
No, of course.
Just everybody has their cup of tea. I just think it's.
I don't think I would use it.
I think from a romantic level, there's a certain connection, and I guess maybe the app helps you get to a point where you can try to find out if you have a connection with someone. But there's a certain, I don't know, man. I like the old school thing of like talking, like seeing someone and talking to them and establishing like whether it's a friendship and then it growing from there, or just being like, hey, I find you attractive, I want to get to know you, whatever. Like,
but then where do you go for shit like that? Like as you get older, like you're not going to the club anymore. I mean, now there are some of us that still do, right? Like, but for the most part. You're not going to
you're
the
not
club
doing
anymore.
the clubs. You're not trying to find your mate at a club. Yeah.
Right, and so it sort of limits. If you're not into any like I don't know, any extracurricular activities that involve a lot of people, like you have your people at work, people that you sort of meet, in a work environment. But other than that, maybe church, right? Like if you go to church, you have to be in a place where you're around people.
Yeah, it would have to be the stuff you do all the time. You said it would have to be work, church. If you belong to any clubs, leagues, whatever, like
anything like that. Fucking take up pickleball, some shit like that.
Yeah.
Right.
I think you have to put. I think other than the app, you have to put yourself in social situations,
right,
that aren't like. Yeah, like the club. It's weird, right? That's not an environment that is conducive to you getting to know someone, and it works when you're 20 and you're 21, whatever. Like it doesn't work when you're 35. Like but I think you have to put yourself in social situations, and then I don't know, and I guess you don't have to. I think that's what you would do. I guess if you're asking me if I don't want to do the apps, because I hear this from people all the time, like, where would I even meet somebody? I'm like, fuck, you don't go out, you don't go to the grocery store, you don't go, whatever you do on a day-to-day basis, like there's a way, I guess, to find people there and just spark up conversations. I think really the thing is we're so shitty at real life conversations now, because we're so used to hiding behind a keyboard. Yep. And I do think there's something to being behind a keyboard that maybe it's more disarming, and so it's freeing, like where maybe you feel like you can be yourself more. I do get that, but I don't know, man. There's like I don't know, man.
Dude, most people don't, bro. Most people don't spark up conversations, man. I think that's just
I guess I don't. Obviously, I fucking talk to myself, so I don't have that whole thing.
And you have a personality where you can, like just put you in a space with somebody and you'll fucking spark up a conversation. Where like me, maybe not.
Yeah, and I know I annoy people with that, right? Because like people go out and me, they're like, motherfucker, you talk to everybody, and then suddenly you're like, 6 deep at a table, and there was 2 of us that showed up, so it's like,
right.
But I like genuinely enjoy talking to people, I guess, and like there's a genuine curiosity that comes with like it could be anything. I could be like, what are you drinking? And it'll just spark off this long. Dude, I had a conversation. This is a prime example. I had a conversation this week with a guy at a farmer's market who makes leather goods, like belts, and I wound up buying a dog leash that he made out of leather or whatever. And he's like a 70-something-year-old man, and he's been working with leather since he was 5, and he makes everything by hand. And I got like a 30-minute lesson on how to make leather goods, and talking to him, and just like, and I'm like asking him a bunch of questions, and his wife is like, you just made his day. And because she's like,
he loves talking about it.
Yeah, she's like, he can talk about this all day. I've known him for 40 years or whatever. 50 years. Like, he won't stop, like, if you don't just walk away.
Right.
But I was genuinely, like, really curious. I like talking about anybody who's passionate about anything. I don't fucking care if it's cup making. Like, when you talk to people that are passionate about something, there's something, like, invigorating about it. I don't know. It's, like, it's really cool to see. But then it's something that I don't know anything about. So it's just, like, man, and how'd you think of this, and how do you do that, and how do you make, like, and he's showing me everything from like the how he picks leather to how he shapes it, and then how he stitches it, and how he crafts it, and this is how he puts him. It's
that shit was me, bro. I'd have been over there like, oh, that's really nice, and he started telling me how he did it. I've been like, oh, cool.
Oh, no,
all right, man. I'm out.
I was fucking terrible. I asked follow-up questions. I was like, all right,
but that's who you are, right? That's your personality, bro. And like, I'm not like that. So I could see people that are in, are trying to be in that dating scene, and maybe they're older and they can't, right? Like you go like, if I pay for this, maybe for a short term, maybe I find somebody easier because I'm not the social butterfly. And I'm not going to be out, and I'm not going to be talking to people.
Dude, and this benefits guys more than girls, right? I would think. If I'm a guy, I'm not more attracted to a woman that spends $500 a month. That actually would deter me. Like, if I saw a woman that could spend $500 a month, I would wonder, I
can see why you said that.
Why do you need to spend $500 a month? And then, it just, no, I'm just going to leave it at why do you need to spend? That's a red flag. Like, I don't care that you have money, so that status thing doesn't do anything for me.
Right.
And then, how fucked up are you then? Because, dude, as a woman, it's very easy to get picked up, right? Like,
Yes.
or at least it doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna get what you want, but in terms of
But
like,
there's gonna be guys hitting on you.
people are gonna shoot their shot, right?
Go to the fucking grocery store
Yeah, yeah.
and smile and say good morning.
Or not, because you talk to pretty women all the time who are like, no, nobody hits on me, and you're like,
Hey, you probably walk around with the puss face.
yeah, that, or like, guys are punks, and so they don't
That
shoot
too,
their
right?
shot.
Or
Yeah,
somebody
yeah.
goes like, "Oh, you're out of my league."
Yeah, because how many guys do you know that wouldn't shoot their shot, or like, or just like, nah, she's out of my league, I'm not gonna talk to her. And I'm
Right.
like, that's probably why you should, because everybody else thinks how you think. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't know. There's just something about, to me, if you need to spend $500 on an app, I'm already turned off.
Hey man, aren't people paying for blue checks now?
But especially for a hookup, though, it's like, go back to, if you're just trying to get laid and you're a woman,
yeah.
getting laid is very easy for a
yeah.
guy, bro. Getting laid is extra easy for a woman. If you're a guy and you're halfway decent looking and you can have a conversation, getting laid's easy. If you're a woman, you just need
don't
to
have to
walk
say
into a room.
anything.
You don't have to
Yeah.
say anything, bro. Just motion over and like, pick, and mostly, yeah, we're fucking terrible, bro. So like, we'll be like, okay, like most, like, I don't know, that part's easy. So the $500 is just fucking, I don't know, it weirds me out. Like, for $500, I better, like, you are you paying for the lay? Like, at this point, it's like, yo, it is
Yeah, I
understood
guess so,
that
man,
you're,
yeah.
I don't know, it's just weird. Like, you might as well
Just
get a
go get a
prostitute.
whore.
Yeah, just get a prostitute at that.
Yeah, man, let's get out of here. And on that, tell them where they can find us.
At the Carbon Footprint Podcast on IG, the Carbon Footprint Podcast on Facebook, YouTube, at Carbon Footprint Podcast on TikTok, and our Carbon FB Pod on X, and all your favorite audio platforms: Audible, Amazon, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podchaser. For now, Google Podcasts, and anywhere else where you like to listen to your audio. So hit us up on there, and let us know what you think. Leave us a review, and shout out to you guys for the support.
And as always, we appreciate you guys. We will see you next week.
See you next week.
Peace.
Peace.